It was a crisp autumn evening in 2007 when 23-year-old Madeleine McCann, a university student studying abroad, vanished without a trace from her apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal. She had been enjoying a brief holiday break after finishing her studies at a prestigious British university. She had come to Portugal to unwind with friends before returning home, seeking solace in the coastal beauty of the Algarve. The apartment she rented, situated on the edge of the touristy beach resort, was quaint and peaceful, a perfect place to relax. But peace would soon turn into an agonizing nightmare. On the evening of May 3, 2007, Madeleine had plans to meet some friends for dinner at a local restaurant. As the evening stretched on, the group of friends decided to go out for drinks in the lively town. Madeleine, tired from her long day, excused herself early to head back to her apartment and get some rest. She had been staying with a group of fellow travelers, and as she walked toward the apartment, she had no idea that the night would take a dark turn. When her friends returned, they found the apartment eerily quiet. The door was ajar. The light in the living room was flickering, casting ominous shadows on the walls. As they stepped inside, they were struck by the emptiness. Madeleine's belongings were gone, and there were no signs of struggle, nothing that could explain her disappearance. There were no clear motives, and no one could immediately say why anyone would want to abduct a young adult like Madeleine. She was an outgoing, intelligent woman with her whole future ahead of her, an active presence on social media with no known enemies or troubles. Some theorized that it was an act of revenge, a calculated crime targeting a lone woman. Others suggested that the disappearance might be related to a more sinister plot, perhaps an abduction ring, as unsettling as that idea was. The police, with limited resources and under pressure from both local authorities and her family, struggled to develop a theory that could explain what had happened. Madeleine McCann was a bright, driven young woman, 23 years old, and eager to pursue her dreams. She had come to Portugal to enjoy a well-deserved break after completing her studies in England. Independent and self-sufficient, she was making her mark in her chosen field, with hopes of traveling the world, writing, and making a difference. She had always been passionate about social causes and had been an active volunteer, eager to make a positive impact on society. Her family was shattered by her disappearance, unable to comprehend the fate that had befallen their daughter. Their anguish was compounded by the media frenzy, the relentless public eye, and a sense of helplessness as days turned into weeks with no answers. The world, too, seemed to mourn the loss of someone so young, someone whose life was just beginning. At first, the police focused on the possibility that Madeleine had been taken by a stranger. No signs of forced entry, no ransom demand, and no witnesses who had seen anything suspicious. As the investigation deepened, the focus shifted to those close to Madeleine. Had one of her friends, someone she knew, been involved? Was the crime a tragic act of betrayal by someone she had trusted? As theories about her friends, acquaintances, and even the locals were brought forward, the investigation grew murkier. Was this a random attack? Or was there something deeper at play? Various potential suspects came forward, including people who lived in the area, those who had been seen acting suspiciously around the time of Madeleine's disappearance. Investigators examined security footage, conducted interviews, and pieced together a timeline of the events surrounding the night she went missing. Yet, no suspect could be definitively linked to the crime. New theories and leads seemed to pop up daily, but each one turned out to be a dead end. The apartment where Madeleine had been staying became a place of intense focus. The absence of obvious signs of struggle was both haunting and puzzling. The only thing that seemed odd was the open door and the broken light. Had someone entered the apartment, or had Madeleine left willingly? Was she coerced into leaving, or had she been unaware of what was about to happen to her? The lack of physical evidence left detectives with nothing but circumstantial clues. There were no fingerprints, no DNA traces, no forced entry. The scene left far more questions than answers. The initial investigation was bogged down by misinformation and confusion. The police were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of calls and tips they received. Every lead seemed to point in a different direction, but none led to Madeleine or her whereabouts. The local authorities, with limited experience in handling high-profile cases like this, struggled to keep up with the growing media attention. As days turned to weeks, the pressure on the investigators mounted. Madeleine's family was thrust into the public eye, their every move scrutinized. Amid the chaos, one thing remained clear: the McCanns would not stop searching for their daughter. They raised awareness of the case, pleading with the public for any information, and even launched their own investigation alongside the authorities. However, as the years passed, the case began to grow colder. New suspects emerged and many different theories were proposed, but none could provide concrete answers. Madeleine's family, despite the heartache, refused to give up hope. They knew that, no matter the odds, they would continue their search for their daughter. In 2017, nearly a decade after Madeleine's disappearance, the investigation was revived. A German man, Christian Bruckner, was linked to the case after new evidence was found. He had been living in the area at the time of the disappearance, and his criminal record included convictions for similar crimes. The police focused their attention on him, hoping that this new lead would finally bring answers. Yet, despite the renewed interest in Bruckner as a potential suspect, no one could definitively prove his involvement in Madeleine's case. The lack of solid evidence and the passage of time had left the investigation with few leads to follow. And so, the mystery remained unsolved. Madeleine McCann's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing and heart-wrenching unsolved cases of the 21st century. The theories continue to evolve, the leads continue to emerge, but the answers remain elusive. For her family, the anguish of not knowing what happened to their beloved daughter is unbearable. The investigation continues, but for now, the truth remains hidden. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann is a tragedy that has left an indelible mark on the world. It serves as a reminder of the mystery and uncertainty that can invade even the most peaceful of places, and the lasting pain that a family must endure when a loved one disappears without a trace. The search for Madeleine continues, and the hope remains alive that one day the mystery will be solved, and the answers will finally be revealed.